we're gonna go Miami Hurricanes
Yeah.
minus 27.5.
All right. All right.
Get that minus 113 over on ProfitX.
Nice.
I think this is just a spot, man. We're looking at a home team of Miami of Ohio. They're coming off that loss to SMU last week. We talked a little bit off air that we're not sure if Miami's going to have a chance to make it in the playoffs. Currently, they're outside looking in.
Mm-hmm.
They're also outside looking in the ACC championship game. So, what do they really have left to play for? We ask ourselves. I still think they got a little bit left to play for. They just need everybody else in front of them to trip up. They've got about 4 or 5 teams in front of them in the ACC. They do need to get themselves into the ACC championship somehow so that they can win that game. They win that game, I believe. They'll be in the playoffs. Neither one of us are believers in Virginia, so they do have an outside chance looking in, but they absolutely have to win this game, and I do think they're going to win this game by margin here. If you look back at their home games this season, they've allowed 3, 12, 7, and 7. They allowed 12 to a pretty good USF team that was ranked practically all year long, and then they allowed 7 to a now Florida team that we know is a little bit more down, but still that was a pretty good defensive effort for them in that game. They just have a really good defense, and they're going against a Syracuse team who's just falling flat on their face. We were on Syracuse last week against UNC, and they allowed 28 points at home. Now they got to go on the road. I'm not sure if Syracuse is going to reach 10. I think they might be able to reach 10, but I think that's going to be the limit. Where I think
Mm-hmm.
Miami is going to at least go to 35.5, if not more, up to 40. I think they can probably reach 40 points here. I think Syracuse is going to struggle to score. I just don't see how it's going to be possible here. Miami's got a 4.5 opponents yards per play, 2.61 opponent points per play. They allow a 58% completion percentage. They allow an incredible 30% on opponent third down conversions. So, I'm just not sure how Syracuse is going to move the ball, how they're going to get first downs, how they're going to score. And then offensively, Miami still averages 5.6 yards per play, 4.436 points per play. So I just think overall, they're just going to out muster them. They're probably going to win the first half. We looked at the first half margin was 17.5. I think that's probably a
Mm-hmm.
good. They're probably going to win the first half right around 17 points, 18 points, and then second half, I think they're just going to pull away. I think they'll probably win this game by at least 35 points. So I think the 27-28 is a pretty good line here. Miami has a red zone scoring efficiency of 92.59 on offense, and their defense sits at 87%. So even if Syracuse does reach the red zone, I think they'll be able to hold them to field goals. I just really don't think Syracuse is going to find the end zone here. So
Yeah, I typically don't like to lay big numbers like
yeah,
this,
no,
but
no.
I love that Big Wade is fearless. You gotta love the man's
Revenge
chutzpah
spot too.
here.
I didn't mention they
It
lost to
is, yeah,
Syracuse last
yeah.
year.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that stuff matters. I know it doesn't matter as much here in the NIL portal era, but I still think it matters. You got a lot of these Miami kids that were around for that, especially like running back Mark Fletcher Jr. And Beck, I know Carson Beck gets a lot of flack. I still think he's a very good quarterback, and he's going to be pissed off for greatness. He threw a couple just awful picks last week against SMU. He's going to want to bounce back, and what better way to bounce back than to play a terrible Syracuse secondary that's just awful. He should score. He should throw for 5 touchdowns in this one and just boat race this team, much like they did Stanford a couple weeks ago, where they won by I think 31. Um, yeah,
42-7 in that game, I
yeah,
believe. So
35. Yeah, there you go.
yeah,
Exactly,
I
exactly.
think it's
So I
gonna be
could definitely see that similar score.
yeah,
Probably
yeah.
is probably good.